I don't want to hear your pitiful excuses.
Well, I thought it was a steamy pile of garbage.
I can't believe you don't see it. What are you, Helen Keller? Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Film Snobbery Live. I am your host, the film snob, Nick Baisley. With me tonight, as usual, is guest, director, co-host person, Mr. Jerry Cavallero. Hey, Jerry.
Hey, Nick. I'm most proud of being a person.
You are a person. So I want to welcome everyone who's able to make it tonight. We've got a great show for you guys, and I know I say that every week. This week, I mean it. You might notice there's something a little different here in the background. I don't want to scare everybody, but that looks to you guys like a green screen, I bet. Well, guess what, guys? In the next couple of weeks, we've got some big plans going that involve this green screen behind me, and some new changes and some new dynamics that we're going to be bringing to Film Snobbery. Hopefully everyone else is doing well tonight, and we've got so much show that we actually have to kick right into it. Jerry, I gotta throw something over to Jerry real quick. Jerry, we've got a contest for tonight in honor of our, what is this, fourth week of First Glance Film Month. So, Jerry, what's the contest for tonight?
Well, why don't you start by saying what the prize is, and then I'll jump right into how everyone can win the awesome $300 worth of software.
Well, the awesome prize is right here on my desk, actually, and I'm going to show it to everyone right now. Win yourself a copy of Gorilla Pro software. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with Gorilla Pro, it allows you to do a lot of different things, including importing footage to make notes from Final Cut. It allows you to do scheduling, budgeting, location info, film festival info, arranging contacts, and doing shot lists and storyboarding. It's really an all-in-one type of piece of software. With the Pro version, you are not limited by either shoot days or budgets or lengths or anything of that nature. It's completely unlocked. Brought to you by our good friends at Gorilla Pro and the FirstGlance Film Festival Hollywood. So Jerry, let's tell everyone how they can win this awesome piece of software, Gorilla Pro. Take total control of your film. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just figured everyone should find out exactly what they're winning because there's actually going to be a lot to this contest.
Yes.
It's not a simple tweet. So basically what we want you to do is send out a tweet, which I'll post in the chat room in a second. But we don't want you to just send out this tweet and the first one to tweet wins. We want you to get as many of your followers to retweet this tweet. And you have to keep the hashtag in it. There's going to be a hashtag, I love First Glance Film. That hashtag has to be in it because that's how we're tracking the contest. Get as many of your followers to retweet it, and by 10:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to choose the person with the most follower retweets.
That's right. This contest is going to go the entire length of tonight's show.
So it's posting right now in the chat. So that's what you're going to have to tweet out. Get your followers to retweet it. I'm going to track them all. And also, in order to be eligible for this contest, you have to join the First Glance Film Festival Facebook group.
Yes.
So that link is also going in the chat right now. So you just have to join the group, and you also have to send out some variation of the tweet as your status update on Facebook.
Yes. So we want you guys to be to make sure that we're covering all of our bases on all of our social media outlets tonight, both Twitter and Facebook. We want to make sure that everyone and everyone's contact lists and everything knows about the First Glance Film Festival and obviously filmsnobbery.com as well. So so good job with that, Jerry.
Okay, also, I just want to let everyone know that this contest is open to everyone. So if you won recently from us, you could actually play this one. You could go for it.
Yes.
We're opening this up. We want everyone to participate.
Yep.
And also, one final thing, in order for me to make sure that for us to know that you put it in Facebook, you sent the post, you have to friend me or be friends with me so that way I can check it. So if you aren't friends with me, I just posted the link. Facebook.com/StuckLikeJerry. Friend me, I'll accept you and check your status.
Yep. Yeah, and we know it's a little bit more complicated tonight, but come on,
Yes.
guys. What other chance and what other show? The best live film show on the internet. Let's be honest now. Giving away $300 of free software. And, you know, we do this all the time. We got this software. We just did another contest where we gave away a free copy of Final Draft. We've given we had another contest. Remember, Jerry, remember our 24-hour show where we gave away $1,000?
How could I forget?
How could anyone forget? We gave away $1,000 of free software. So you know what, guys? Stick with us because you're willing to. You're more than able to get some nice little production software out of it. And come on, free is free. So. That being said, guys, we've got to go into our first segment of the evening, our first guest of the evening. Everyone that is looking to do the contest, go ahead. You've got all show to do it, but make sure that you get it done and that other people, they're doing it with you. Because doing it with others is Indiegogo's motto. I don't know where that came up from, but it was either that or something dirty. So we got a great show for you. The first guest for the night, Emmy-nominated choreographer and director of the movie short Abuelo, going to be over at the FirstGlance Film Festival in Hollywood this April. I'm going to play the trailer for Abuelo right now, and when we come back, we're going to speak with the director herself. I love interviewing female directors, Miss Mary Ann Kellogg. So stick around. We're going to play that trailer right now.
Look, Emily, he's here.
Hola.
Grandfather is watching you. What he says goes.
Oh, well, maybe I could.
And we're back,
anyway,
everyone. We're here. We're here with.
I'll just talk to you live. Oh, sorry.
Well, we're already live. We're actually here live with Mary Ann Kellogg, director of the movie Abuelo. Mary Ann, thank you so much for being on the show. I do greatly appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
You're taking the time out. I know you're busy. You are very busy. We're looking over. We were talking a little bit before the show about what you've got going on and a little bit about your career and history. Let's catch up the audience a little bit on who you are and a little bit about your career and what you're currently working on.
Okay. Well, my name is Mary Ann Kellogg. I am the director of Abuelo. And let me see, I have a long career. Basically, I started off as a dancer with Atlanta Ballet. Then I went to Cal Arts and I danced. I became a modern dancer. Then in 1979, I joined Twyla Tharp's company, moved to New York City, and I danced with Twyla Tharp's modern dance company for 8 years. With that, we traveled all over the world, danced everywhere. And we danced, and then I also performed on Broadway. I also did the movies Amadeus and Ragtime as a performer that Twyla had choreographed. And then after I stopped performing, I started choreographing for film and television. And my first film was actually Chud 2 that David Irving directed, who was a classmate of mine at Cal Arts, who now runs the NYU Film School over in Singapore. And then I worked with Amy Heckerling and I did all the Look Who's Talking. And so for the last 20 years, 2 decades, I've been choreographing for film and TV. Recently done Mad Men, Weeds. I just finished a film called You Again at Disney, and now I'm starting a pilot as a choreographer called Hellcats for the CW. So that's my other life. But there was a time that I've been doing this for 2 decades. So in 2006, I decided I wanted to go back to school. So I was accepted at AFI, American Film Institute, as a producer because I couldn't go as a director because I had never directed a short before. And you can't get into AFI unless you have directed before. So I went in as a producer. I stayed for a year and I produced 3 shorts there. And that really taught me that I really want to direct. This is what I want to do. So I developed the story of Abuelo. And my really dear friend, Doug Cooney, who wrote the screenplay for Abuelo, we partnered together and we created the film, the script, Abuelo. And then the way this came about with AFI, after I left AFI, they have a program there called Directing Workshop for Women, which started in 1974. Mm-hmm. And it takes 8 women. There was about 200 applicants that year. It takes 8 women, and we're all given the opportunity to make a film. And so that's how Abuelo came about. And my husband is the executive producer. His name is Tony Whitman. He's the key grip on a television show called Medium. And he gave the script to Lori Seidman, the producer of Medium, and she loved the script so much that she asked me if she could produce it. So, of course, it was fantastic. Just this is the most incredible gift. And from that, we began the casting process, and Miguel Sandoval from Medium recommended a really wonderful, amazing Argentinian actor named Castulo Guerra, and he gave Castulo this script, and Castulo said immediately that he had to do this film. So we really learned the power of the script about casting actors, and then there's a whole casting process. So, do you want me to talk about that, or you want to ask me a question, because I could go on forever? So.
No, I enjoy listening to you talk, but I have so many questions. The first of which is, what was the hardest part about directing your first film?
I had been on sets, like I said, most of my adult life. For the last 2 decades, I have done a lot of films and a lot of television. I think it was, you know what I did, though? I'm so used to rehearsal. And so we did a rehearsal process, and I think that relieved a lot of my nerves to have, to know that I knew what the story was, to know the blocking, to know, we did a lot of, production design. Natalie, we found these great locations, and I knew what those locations were. We could simulate those in rehearsal, and the actors were generous enough to give some time. So for me, if I hadn't had rehearsal, Nick, I think I would have been a lot more nervous. Mm-hmm. I think, though, sitting down that first day when you realize you're the one that's saying, cut, action, and cut, that it was kind of like, I'm used to sitting by the director as the choreographer. So it was a very different experience. I was afraid. I was scared. It was kind of scary, but I had a wonderful first AD, and that is Jeffrey Ellis, who also is the first AD on Medium. So I was mentored by some incredible people who made me believe in this script and gave me a lot of confidence and helped me every step of the way. And Larry Riedman, who's the cinematographer on Medium, he was my cinematographer on Abuelo. So I had so much help and so much guidance that they relieved a lot of my anxiety and a lot of my fear.
You're actually the second director recently who has kind of extolled the virtues of having a really good first AD. And someone who really knows what they're talking about, especially if you're a first-time director and they're somewhat seasoned, because they can really kind of make or break your ability to direct properly.
Yes, and Jeffrey and I spent a lot of time together prior to the actual shoot days, because we only had 5 days to shoot this, and that was the rules of AFI, and everything's done through the union rules. Plus, we had Britt Flatmo was our actress, and she was 11 at that time. Right. So, and as you know, on Medium they have children, so Jeffrey's very, very conscious of working with children and the hours, and we had to stick to those strict rules of what SAG and the rules and the child welfare and having a teacher on set and all those kind of things were adhered to. And it was, so we worked within the parameters of how they work in Hollywood, which is also what you learn at AFI. And what I've been working on all my life as far as a choreographer.
Did you find it difficult to work within those parameters also as you are still, to a point, really you are an independent filmmaker. Did you find it difficult to work within those parameters? Or are you so used to, especially as a dancer choreographer, you learn your steps and you learn these things through rigorous practice and stuff like that. Things, a dance, is a very, it's choreographed. I mean,
right, it's choreographed and it's timed, and we're all based on time and things like that. So it wasn't, because of my work so much as a choreographer on set, I was used to working quickly. Mm-hmm. And I think, again, going back to the rehearsal process, which I encourage for, new filmmakers, because it does give you a chance to explore your material without the pressure of having the crew all around you all the time, and which is, which can be pressure, because you do know that you have to get these shots. And Jeffrey and I, we knew what we had to get, and we worked hand in hand with this, and he was just, you're right, you cannot do this without a great first AD. I mean,
Do you mind if I ask?
Paramount.
Do you mind if I ask? As far as your experience goes, you obviously had a very good experience directing this film. Do you feel nervous moving on to another project in the future without these same people working with you?
Well, I've been thinking about that recently, and I know you do feel comfortable working with the same people, and I experienced that in the craft of choreography, is that I'm usually hired a lot of times by the same directors or the same production company, because they see how you work, you see how they work, you feel comfortable with each other. There is that, so I know when you switch crews or you think about another cinematographer or another producer or another writer or any, it's creating a new relationship. So yes, I think that, it's nice to work with the same people, because you begin to have a shorthand, you begin to think alike, you begin to know what each other needs. And that's, when you get to actual photographing your film, it's paramount that you can work really quickly together.
And do you find that that's more of an attitude of people who work within the television industry, less than and obviously in your case the dancing, the dance and choreography industry? Do you find that it's more of the quickness aspect in wanting to rehearse, so you basically can get it all done in one shot or a couple of shots? Is that more of a TV thing than a movie thing?
Well, I think it depends on how you decide to shoot your film. I mean, I would say that Abuelo shot very classically. We didn't design a lot of shots. We basically did more, the classic, wide, medium, close. And it's not, we didn't have time to really design the camera, because camera rehearsal takes a long time. And so I know that choreographing, that if you have a very complicated camera move, it does take longer than maybe more the classic kind of capturing of that scene and things. So it depends on the kind of time you have. I mean, I know choreographing, what I like to do since I've only had one short film, so I don't have a lot of experience I have more experience choreographing, but I know that what I like to do is, when you choreograph for film and television, it is most likely more than not done prior to the principal photography. So you may have a minute number or an 8-minute number, but it all has to be planned out and designed. And then what I do is I like to have production obviously the director needs to approve it, but I also have the cinematographer in so that we can kind of start talking about the shot. So on the day when we get there, we know exactly what we're doing.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Tell the audience a little bit, because I was doing a little bit of research before the show. I know it's not something we really like to do here, pre-production, but no. One of the things though that I was really kind of taken by is you have a great story behind Abuelo, and I mean and it's kind of a personal story to you. Maybe tell the audience a little bit about the story of Abuelo and kind of where it came from.
Well, the story of Abuelo actually came from when I was at school at AFI. We had to come up with a story, and you write what you know, and I know dance, and so I wanted, but I also I'm very interested in multicultural stories. Mm-hmm. I'm very interested in Los Angeles. I'm very interested in multi-generational stories, mm-hmm. And so with my interests, I developed a story that had dance at its heart. And so I wanted the two people in this, the grandfather, Abuelo, Castillaguera, and Emily, the little girl played by Britt Flatmo, the story is that the little girl loses her mother before we meet her. And then when we meet her, she's not a very happy little girl, and her father, he has to go to work, so he has to have someone come take care of her. And the only option he has is to bring the Argentinian grandfather to come and take care of her. Well, he doesn't speak English, and she doesn't speak Spanish. And so through their trials and tribulations, and through her testing him, and through their journey through Los Angeles, she ends up witnessing her grandfather dancing this beautiful tango and hearing this beautiful tango music in the Argentinian Social Club, which they have in Los Angeles, which I spent a year going every Sunday to watch them dance and to absorb the culture. And through the dance, she begins to realize that this is a way that I can communicate with my grandfather. And so at the end, they dance together in the kitchen.
Okay. Well,
and
we have,
and that's the language that they speak. So it's the language of dance.
Okay. Well, we have a question from our audience.
Okay.
Julie and Jessica, known collectively as King is a Fink. They're a pair of female directors as well,
okay,
from the Chicago area.
Oh, great.
They actually have a question of they missed a little bit of the first part of the interview, but they want to know. And I want you to tell the audience anyway, aside from the FirstGlance Film Festival that's coming up this April, where can we see Abuelo after that?
Well, afterwards, let me see. FirstGlance, I think after FirstGlance, well, what was coming up? We just did the Bermuda Film Festival.
Right.
And then we go and we do, we do the Newport Beach Festival.
Okay.
We do FirstGlance. We've been in like 16 film festivals.
I saw that you had many laurels.
And many laurels. We have many laurels.
You have a laurel garden on your homepage.
I know, isn't it unbelievable? It's been fantastic. I mean, it's been so well received, and we won several awards. We won the award at USA Film Festival for Best Family. Mm-hmm. We won the Audience Award at Nantucket. Mm-hmm. We won the Best Audience Select at Palm Springs International Short Fest. Mm-hmm. I won the Emerging Directing Award at the Chicago International Children's Film Festival.
Oh, good.
The cool thing about this film that we've learned from the film festival is it's appealing to, we played the LA Latino Film Festival, mm-hmm, we played the children's film festivals, we play film festivals that are just for shorts, and we play film festivals that are features and shorts. And we've played a lot of Oscar booster Oscar booster film festivals, as well as short festivals, and then a variety of other fantastic film festivals. And we just started in June of last year, so it's been fantastic.
Well, no, I'm so happy that you've actually.
And we won Best of Fest in Philadelphia, and Britt won Best Emerging Actor, and it's been so great with FirstGlance Film Festival because they've been so supportive. Bill has been fantastic, and to have another opportunity because FirstGlance is in Philadelphia and Hollywood, and if you win, you get to play both festivals. So what could be better? It's fantastic.
I completely agree on all of those points. We do have one other quick question, again from King is a Fink here in the chat room, Julie and Jessica. Sure. They have a question of any advice for other female filmmakers.
Well, I think other advice for filmmakers. For me, I think that the directing workshop for women at AFI really helped me tremendously. It gave me an opportunity to make my film. They gave a grant for it, and it was really helpful to have those deadlines. It was very helpful because I know as an independent filmmaker you can go on forever, but to set those hard deadlines, to make yourself finish your film on time, to really complete the process within a certain period of time was really important. I know that the post process is very difficult and very expensive and complicated, and I think also having a producer, if you've not produced and you're primarily a director and you're not a producer, it's so helpful to have a producer that's there by your side every step of the way. And we were fortunate to have an incredible editor, Tom Long, who we did it at his home. And all these people, Nick, worked for free. I mean, that was another thing with AFI. It was that they had to donate their time. So
I love that. I love that because
the
generally
power of the script draws people to you.
No, it's great because generally you get, when people work like that, they're working because they're passionate about the project, and generally that means they're going to give a little bit more. And I really like that. And I really, again, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show tonight and being a part of our FirstGlance Film Month. And hopefully we can see Abuelo. Hopefully we can see it on if not on DVD, but some on-demand feature at some point in the near future, because
in
I
the
know.
near future. Well, I can also say that we were invited into a program called America Here and Now, which is a traveling art exhibition throughout the United States. And that was curated by the Tribeca Film Festival, and they've invited Abuelo to be a part of that. So it will tour within that art exhibition, and I'm not sure when that kicks off. It may kick off in the fall, but it'll travel for a year and a half.
Oh, okay. So we'll have plenty of opportunities to see
yes,
Abuelo
and we
out
will
there.
continue to submit to film festivals and keep you abreast of everything.
Yeah, and please, keep us in the loop here, and everyone. If you want to learn more about Mary Ann Kellogg, the cast and crew of Abuelo, you can go over to www.abuelofilm.com, and you can get an eyeful right up front of all of the festivals that they've been to, because the laurels are right there on the front page, and it's kind of it's very impressive. And again, thank you for sharing your time with us. We do greatly appreciate it, and on that note, we will have to part for this evening, but I look forward to speaking with you again in the future.
Thank you so much, Nick.
Oh, thanks, Mary Ann.
Take care.
Take care. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. That was Mary Ann Kellogg, everyone, and if you're just joining us and you don't already know what you're watching Film Snobbery Live here over at live.filmsnobbery.com. You can watch us every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I am, again, your host, the Film Snob, Nick Baisley. Mr. Jerry Cavallero, the co-host. How's everything going on your end there?
Very good. We want some more people entering the contest, though.
Yes, we do. Remember,
send
it's open.
out those tweets. Get your followers to retweet.
Yes, and remember, it's open to everybody.
If you won recently, you can still win.
Yes, yeah, it's and again, I want to thank our guest that was just on, Mary Ann Kellogg. Thank you, Jerry, for handling the contest tonight. We've got another guest coming up in the next couple of minutes. First thing I want to do is I want to introduce him a little bit. I'm actually really happy to report that this man is originally from my neck of the woods here in Massachusetts. He's actually a Fall River native. For those of you who aren't familiar with Massachusetts, Fall River is a place that you'll never go to. For people who are familiar with Massachusetts, Fall River is a place you'll never go to. I want to talk a little bit about tonight's guest, Todd Hickey. He is the director of the wrestling documentary Takedowns and Falls, and he's actually, and I'm going to make sure I got a couple of notes here. I'm going to read it off to make sure I get it right. He's going to be part of a FirstGlance screening series that is going to be happening. Takedowns and Falls is very excited and honored to be the kickoff film for the Truly Indie series presented by FirstGlance Film Festivals and the Franklin Institute. Please come and be a part of this wonderful event, April 17th and 18th, 2010, right in Philadelphia. Basically, they're doing a screening series at the Franklin Institute for the FirstGlance films, and you can go see it there. And you know what? I've been following these guys for a couple of months now. I get their newsletters and stuff like that, and their film looks really interesting. It's a nice little documentary. I say little in as much as they've been screening everywhere, and they've actually got some great information coming up that Todd's going to talk about how they're doing their screenings and how it can be beneficial to you guys out there. But first, we would not be Film Snobbery Live if we didn't show you the trailer for Takedowns and Falls. So we'll be right back, and stick around.
You are looking live inside the Giant Center in Hershey, Pennsylvania, the site of the Wrestling Championship.
Everything that wrestling does for somebody, it gives you an opportunity to persevere.
Second place from Central Dolphin, Walter Peppelman.
I have some doctor's appointments coming up. You guys know I have some personal health issues I have to deal with. I'll take care of my problems and you take care of the rest.
He's such a role model. We want to go out there and win, not just for us, but for him, because we don't know how long he's going to be coaching, and maybe it'd be cool to get a championship this year for him.
Don't look mean. For 5 years, he's going to regret everything he's done in the last 2.
You get more ladies.
I don't even think he hit puberty yet.
Can you please come down to the pool area?
Let's go.
The butterflies in my stomach.
Thank you, everyone, for sticking with us here at Film Snobbery Live. Our next guest, director Todd Hickey. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome him. Director Todd Hickey. Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you? Thanks for
I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy night to chat with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, tell the audience a little bit, so we get a little bit familiar with what's going on here. Let's tell the audience a little bit about Takedowns and Falls.
Well, it's a documentary about a high school wrestling team in central Pennsylvania that is a little bit of the Bad News Bears meets Friday Night Lights meets Spellbound. In that sense, it's a character study on a team, a human interest piece. We went there initially thinking we would do a little bit more of a mosaic of high school wrestling in Pennsylvania because it's quite a phenomenon there. It is, like we say in our press releases, sort of one of the meccas of high school wrestling. But we ended up sticking with one team who was not predicted really to do much and ended up rallying around their coach who had been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and they end up winning the state title through, a series of trials and tribulations and sort of overcoming a lot of the odds that they had stacked against them. And it's really, in general, coming of age film, but a documentary. I think we were really fortunate to have these kids grow up right in front of our cameras and achieve, one of the harder things to do in high school sports and one of the harder things to do as a teenager, which is just grow up and become sort of the best that you can be given your circumstances and your support network around you.
Well, and so what drew you to this project? I mean, I know that you were living down in the Pennsylvania or Philly area for a while, and where did you kind of hook up with this story and decide I need to make a movie about this?
Well, I grew up like you said at the beginning. I'm from Massachusetts, from Fall River, and moved to Harrisburg when I was in first grade, and in fourth grade was introduced to folk style wrestling, which is the high school style of wrestling, which is a little bit different than the Olympic styles of wrestling, and wrestled all through high school. And I actually wrestled for Coach Swigert, who is one of the lead characters in the film. And it was just one of those things. I've shot a lot of documentaries. I work as a cinematographer mostly, and I've shot a lot of documentaries. And in looking for something to do, you always want to sort of do something that hasn't been done before. And making a wrestling documentary, so to speak, it's more about, a film about people that happen to love wrestling, which is what we always wanted to do, as opposed to a movie that teaches you about wrestling. It's not like that at all. But it's something we always wanted to do. Then Walter, the main character in our film, who was in 11th grade when we shot this film in the 2006-2007 season, was a state runner-up the year before. And Coach Swigert was also a state runner-up when he was in high school. So we were sort of maybe Kirk Ledger, who's my partner in the film, we're well, maybe this is the time to do it. We have this sort of built-in Rocky II story, and the tie that binds two of the main characters could be this state runner-up thing, that, okay, now we're trying to do the thing that we didn't quite get to the last time. And that's really where our film started off. And then when we got there, we met the rest of the team, and it was this great cast of characters. There's the overachiever, the underachiever. One of our characters has diabetes. One of them has drug problems and actually got in trouble for selling drugs. And there's the ADHD character. Then there's a couple of just your average kids from average middle-class families. So being limited by our budget, we decided, like, we have two options. We can either spend all of our time on the road, driving around Pennsylvania and potentially never getting to know anyone enough to tell a really, intimate story, or we can stick with this team that's giving us a lot of access and just ride it out and see what happens. And fortunately, that team ended up growing up in front of us and around us. And, the last day of the state championships, we're like, wow, these guys have a really good chance to win, and we might have a story here. And then we spent the next 2.5 years trying to shape that story in post-production.
Now, one of the things you brought up and you kind of glossed over, and I think it's really important to note for the audience, both for an entertainment factor, but also an informative factor. I mean, you kind of threw out there that you are a cinematographer, a DP, and you've done work out there. Just so the audience has a point of reference of some of the work that you have, I've got right here. You worked on After Sex, which is an ensemble piece starring Mila Kunis and Emmanuel Shikri and Zoe Saldana, who's huge right now. And you directed you also did cinematography for Soleil Moonfry's Sunny Boy, and
yep.
You also recently even wrote a story, The Hungry Rabbit Jumps, which is being currently made into a production starring a bunch of people that the audience may have heard of, like Nicolas Cage and January Jones and Guy Pearce. You're a busy little monkey.
Yeah, well, I try to be. I mean, I'm trying to break that rule of like a jack of all trades, master of none. So I want to be a master of all trades. I think I went to Temple University and I really started shooting, like being a cinematographer, because I wanted to learn everything the best I could and everything on set. And then while I was shooting, my friends started to ask me to shoot their projects, and then I moved to Los Angeles, and it seemed to be just, the path of least resistance for me. That was where I could easily in quotes, get hired to do things, and camera department just really seemed to come natural to me. So that was sort of the direction I went. But I've always written, and I've always had my sights on being a director and being a storyteller, not just with lighting and camera and lenses, but be the storyteller, the one that shapes the film and ultimately has the say on this is what the story is going to be and this is what it's not going to be. Whereas being a cinematographer, we are the support to storytellers. We enable storytellers to hone their craft so they don't have to worry about these things. And, like I heard you talking to your previous guest, Mary, about like what that support network can be like how an AD can really enable you to be a better storyteller, to be a better director, and that's what I like to do as a cinematographer, is just to be that person that the director can lean on and to give the editors enough material to work with.
Right.
And that it is really a team effort.
We do have a question from the audience here. Jared Doyle asks, how did you build, I assume that word is rapport, with your team? Now, you were on the team prior, back when you went there, when you were there. Is that correct? You actually wrestled for that team.
No, I wrestled for that coach, but at a different school and considerably earlier. Unfortunately, kind of dating myself, I wrestled in high school in the late 80s. And really, it was a long process. I mean, we shot for 2 weeks leading up to the season and 2 weeks after the season, and wrestling season is one of the longest in high school sports. So we shot for almost 6 months continuously and spent pretty much every day with the kids because they practice every day. They even practice on Sundays when they're not in school. They practice at like home facilities and stuff like that. And I use the analogy of a dog park a lot. I mean, it took us a while to really gain the trust of the kids. And not because they didn't trust us, it's just because they weren't really sure how they were supposed to interact with us.
They were a little too aware of the camera at times, you think?
A little bit. I mean, kids right now, they're so camera savvy. Like, everyone is really aware of cameras, and in some ways it worked to our advantage because they're so aware of cameras that they ignored us. you know, that like they completely didn't pay attention to us, and they weren't sure if they were supposed to like directly interact with us. I mean, we had a couple of like personalities that are hams, you know, and they interacted with us quickly. But as the season went on and we got to know each other off camera, then all the things that happened on camera were a lot easier and a lot more intimate, and show the closeness between them, and, you know, you really get to learn who they are a lot better. But I think it was really the moments that we spent with them when the camera wasn't on, where we would tell them like stories of what we were doing in high school, and, you know, and bonding with them as humans, as people. We tried to never treat them as if they were, you know, high school kids and we were these grown-ups. It was like we were just all these people in this room on this mission together, and they really embraced the project in that manner. I mean, the parents did, and everyone was really, really great to us in that way.
And for those of you out in the audience just joining us, we're talking to Mr. Todd Hickey, who's the director of Takedowns and Falls, a nice little documentary that is currently, and I say little, but you sir, are a bit of a master at the self-distribution little thing here. You have been kind of taking this film and kind of doing your own theatrical run in a very unique way. Could you tell us a little bit about how you're doing that?
Well, we basically, I mean, we find that we have a really strong case for niche audience. And, you know, like, I don't think the self-distribution thing will work for every film, because it's important to be able to quickly find your niche audience and get directly to that core audience. And I find that the wrestling community is one of the most starved audiences, that there's not very many films about people that are involved in high school wrestling. So we decided to just take it to the people, literally, that we started booking like art house theaters, and even, you know, negotiating with multiplexes in these wrestling communities and saying like, look, your theater is surrounded by people that love wrestling and are starved for wrestling films, you know, and basically Kirk and I booked these tours and just, you know, try to make it as much like a normal theatrical experience as possible, with the added bonus of like, we're there. If that's a bonus or not, I don't know, but the filmmakers are present, you know, and really just use it as our marketing tool to take it to people that, you know, we have the strongest chance of carrying us into the big cities, that will, you know, the antithesis of the studio sort of release, where you hit the big cities first, and then hopefully people in the small towns will pick it up. Well, we went to the small towns first, and it is working, that they're taking us into the big cities, and on the backs of the wrestling community that are driving this film, that are driving the press of the film, that are driving the reviews of the film. Mm-hmm. You know, we're going into Philadelphia. We're doing some screenings coming up in Brooklyn and New York with a great organization called Beat the Streets. And, you know, we're continuing to book the film, and now we've released the DVD, so we're sort of doing a, you know, extended day and date, if you will, where we'll be selling the DVD and continuing to screen the film.
And where can they actually buy the DVD that it's out there?
You can find it on our website, takedownsandfalls.com, and it's available at Worldwide Sports Supply, where we basically, you know, went into business with a couple of sports suppliers that sell like wrestling gear and baseball gear and stuff like that can help us quickly get to that core audience that is going to, like, you know, most quickly accept this film. I think that wrestling has a couple of black eyes, and I think the MMA in general has helped the wrestling acceptance. But, you know, I think that it's been successful and important for us to like get to the wrestling community first, and it is helping for sure.
We have a couple questions from the audience here. Killer Ken actually asks, "Are you going to be screening at all in DC, or have you screened in DC at all?"
We haven't screened in DC, but we'd very much like to. I mean, we say on all of our emails that you and I talked about earlier that you've been getting for a while now, you know, like, if you want us to come somewhere, just hit us up, and we try to get there. Excellent. I mean, we really we really mean it. We want to go as many places as we can, as many people that we know that wrestling is really big as documentaries. I think Silver Docs has great festivals in the DC area, and it's big in Virginia, and we've gotten a lot of requests from the Virginia and DC area. So that's one of the places we're working really hard to get to.
Yeah, and one of the people
but it always
actually
helps to have someone on the ground. We've really found that we're a small team of people, and if we could have just that one person on the ground that knows the local community, that is tied into the local film lovers or tied into a wrestling team or a wrestling club, it really just takes one person with a few connections to get the word spreading. It's not as daunting to find your audience as distributors or the filming companies would have us as filmmakers believe, because then they can't be that middle management and they can't make a living off of us, and we're finding more and more as filmmakers that we need less of that, that this sort of middle management world and gatekeepers, are actually holding us back. They're holding us back financially, and they're holding us back from finding our audiences, because they've convinced us as filmmakers that we need them more than they need us.
Right.
And that's one of the things that we really try to talk about when we get out there, as much as we don't want to draw that line in the sand, because, we do need infrastructure. Who doesn't?
Right.
The more people that know about our film, the more people that can see our film. But at the same time, there's a really fine line to just giving your project over. Is Ted Hope and Peter Broderick talk about, in this old world system, that we don't want to be part of the old world system anymore,
A couple of people in the audience made some comments. First of all, also someone wanted to say, are you going to be in Houston? The other things that they said it would play, Jared Doyle said this would be something that would play really big in the Midwest, like Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Nebraska. That being said, another person has also commented, and I'm assuming it must be someone hopefully. Hey, anyone who's joining new, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. But Judy also said, this is a great film. We had it in our high school in Sidney, Nebraska, and it was great. And also Nancy Cousin says, Fall River is an awesome place to live, and we would be honored to have him here. And Judy,
that's my cousin Nancy.
And Judy,
I told you I have a lot of cousins in Massachusetts.
Bring them all in. We need the audience. No, and then Judy also said a big thank you to Todd for helping us pump up our kids for their season-ending tournaments. So I'm assuming that might be someone who works at the school or in the system or something. So thank you, and I'm sure thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for being a part of the interview with Todd and boosting him up.
Yeah, thank you, Judy. Yeah, Judy is part of a high school, Sidney High School in Nebraska. That one of the other things we're doing in the grassroots effort is renting it basically to high schools and high school wrestling programs to just try to help spread the word and let those people see it on their own sort of time schedule, because we'd like to get everywhere we can, but in sometimes we can't. We can only, unfortunately, be in so many places at once, and which is basically one. So we've rented it out to several high schools in the Midwest, in particular, as the state tournaments were coming up. The wrestling season just ended around the country, and we were sort of up against the wall to get as many places as we could before the season ended.
Okay. And that all of that is great. King is a Fink, Julie and Jessica here in the audience, they also want to know what's next.
Well, I guess just continuing to put out this film. I'm really not sure what I'd like to do. A narrative next, as you alluded to. I write also. I have a couple of scripts that I'd like to fundraise for and make. I'm really looking forward to making a narrative. I'd love to make another documentary, but I have my sights set on producing one of my scripts into a film right now, and hopefully what Takedowns and Falls is doing for us, and my involvement in the Hungry Rabbit Jumps, I'll be able to parlay those two things together and get one of my scripts produced into a film, hopefully sometime this summer or fall. But I have really no solid plans other than trying to take a vacation.
Well, I know where everyone can see your Todd's current project, Takedowns and Falls, is going to be the kickoff film for the Truly Indie series presented by FirstGlance Film Festival and the Franklin Institute. Come check it out this April 17th and 18th in Philadelphia. Todd, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's very nice to have a kind of a hometown guy coming on to kind of make me feel like I'm not the only person in Massachusetts talking about film.
Yeah, I got a lot of family there too, like I said.
Well, hopefully we'll meet up sometime in the future. If it's not at one of the First Glance events, hopefully I'll see you around, and with you'll be the guy surrounded by your 18 cousins, I'm sure, here in Massachusetts.
Exactly.
But thank you very much for coming on the show. I greatly appreciate your time, and unfortunately we're out of it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and we appreciate your show and your support.
Thank you very much. And so everyone, make sure you go over to www.takedownsandfalls.com. I believe that is correct, right?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, takedownsandfalls.com. Make sure to pick up your copy of Takedowns and Falls, an awesome little documentary that I think that everyone needs to own. If for no other reason than you're supporting someone who's out there and making it happen for themselves. And also, support the kids a little bit too. So it's a good thing. So thank you very much, Mr. Todd Hickey, everyone, director of Takedowns and Falls. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks. Have a great night.
You too. Bye.
All right, Jerry, it's all you.
Just about to wrap it off, the contest. We have like 20 seconds left in it. Will King of the Fink get 2 RTs to take over and beat Marinelle, or will Marinelle win? We'll find out.
I like both parties. I speak to them.
I retweeted both people, so I'm like my mom who votes for everyone on American Idol, so it doesn't really matter who. Her vote doesn't count. But.
I want to actually make a couple quick announcements. King of the Fink is actually going to be. You'll notice that we've got a lot of changes happening here at Filmsnobbery. One of the things that I want to point out to everyone is that King of the Fink, Julie and Jessica, are actually going to be writing a column for Filmsnobbery. You'll see that in the very near future, and it's on a very interesting topic. That being said, I'm just teasing it out now. You guys will see what it is. I also want to actually thank Marinelle, because Marinelle is actually going to be doing some work for Filmsnobbery as well as our official graphic artist. So how about them apples? And Jerry,
so
you
since
still
they will both be working for us, is that a conflict of interest, which means neither party wins?
No, Jerry, as always, you're the only person who can never win.
I know, even though it's funny because I was the first person to get the retweet tonight.
But it's awesome to have them on the show. And you know what? If no one else wants $300 worth of free software, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, this thing, it's got stuff. It works for your story, your cast, your crew, calendar, budgeting, scheduling, locations, profits, accounting, editing. It even keeps track of your film festivals. It does.
Why are you not working at PR? This thing has stuff.
This thing's got stuff. People, it's like a sham wow. It does things. I don't even know. But
well, I'm going to save this show right now and announce that Marinelle is the winner. Congratulations.
Look, Marinelle's. You're calling it.
One person clapping.
All right, I'm clapping too. I'm giving it to Marinelle as well. So thank you.
King of the Fink even RT'd. That's sportsmanship.
Awesome. So King of the Fink, Team Mary Fink. I love that. That's awesome. That's girl power with like 6 R's. Girl power and whatnot. As long as I don't hold up my hands like that and say girl power, it's not like horrible. Because otherwise, I just need to forget about it. So thank you everyone for showing up tonight. We had a great show. 2 really great guests. I want to thank Mary Ann Kellogg. And I want to thank Mr. Todd Hickey. I want to thank Jerry for being here as always. And for those of you who aren't, a couple quick things before we go. For those of you guys who are new to the website, please, by all means, sign up on the website because we've got some great new features that we're rolling out on there. Some great features to get in touch with other filmmakers on the site. You can post pictures to a personal album on the site. You have your own little profile there. The profile and what you do, you can like what other people are doing. It basically took all the best features from Twitter and Facebook and all these other social profiles and kind of jammed them all into Filmsnobbery. You want to create a group to talk about a particular topic, whether it be screenwriting, directing, indie film in general discussion, whatever. Create a group, create a forum, do whatever. I just want you guys out there to interact, and I want you guys to form a nice little community for yourself, a nice little film snobbery community. We can all, kind of get together and talk about stuff. I also want to make sure that everyone knows I'm going to be in New York City this Saturday for The Conversation. Starts at like 9:30 or 9 in the morning or something like that. Goes to like 5:30 in the afternoon. A bunch of people are going to be there along with me, and I don't understand how I got on this list, but come check out people like Ira Deutschman, which happy birthday to him, by the way, because I think his birthday is tomorrow. And I also want to say happy birthday to Movie Maker magazine editor Jennifer Wood. So happy birthday to her. I believe her birthday is today. So that being said, come on out to New York for The Conversation. We've got Ira Deutschman, Lance Weiler, Aaron Crumley, most of the people that have been on Filmsnobbery in the past year. Sheila Andreen, Slava Rubin, even Yancey Strickler from Kickstarter, the elusive one, is going to be there. So many people, so much to talk about. I'm going to be unveiling a big project that we've got in the works in the next year or so. We're unveiling the concept there at the Big Ideas portion. And we're also I'm going to be leading a discussion group on live broadcasting. So come on down and at the very least, hang out with me. If you guys are interested in tickets, yes, they're about like $100 or $125 a piece or something like that. But if you are interested in going and don't want to pay full price, speak to me, because I can get you at least a 10% discount. So that's something, at least 10 or 15 bucks off. So that being said, Jerry, do you have anything else you'd like to talk about?
Sure. I'd just like to give a quick update for Indiegogo project for Stuck Like Chuck 2, which is the sequel to my film Stuck Like Chuck, for anyone that doesn't know. We just got a huge day yesterday. We made $758 alone just yesterday, which is actually $1 more than what we've raised the entire 25 days before that. So we're now up to $1,515. So I'd like to thank everyone that helped out so far. I'm going to put a link in the chat if you want to check out the project. And Nick, would you like to talk about your project news?
I got to tell you, there's something I would like to talk about. I want to congratulate us collectively as Filmsnobbery. I also want to congratulate everyone in the audience. We're going to LA. Because we reached our $1,000 goal at Indiegogo, special thanks to people like Nathan from The Waterhole, Nathan Cole. I want to thank David Nett and Andrew Deutsch from Gold the Series, who've been on the show as well. I want to make sure I get everyone. So give me one moment. I want to thank our big sponsor who really helped make this happen. I want to thank, Indiegogo.com/FSNLA. I want to thank our big sponsor, Sony. Sony gave us half of our budget to go there. And I am pleased as punch. Really, really happy. I want to thank a couple of anonymous people. You know who you are. And Jerry Dennis. He said he's anonymous. I don't care. He works for me. I want to thank Jerry Dennis. I want to thank Rain Tenchi, who is not in right now, but she has been a huge supporter of ours since we started. Also, I want to thank Bill at the FirstGlance Film Festival for giving generously as well. Not only has Bill given generously monetarily to help get us out there to cover the film festival for him, but all the prizes over the past month have been courtesy of the FirstGlance Film Festival. So the Gorilla software, the Showbiz guys, the Movie Maker subscriptions, all this kind of stuff. All courtesy of FirstGlance Film Festival. We've got one more week of the FirstGlance month. Next week we've got a good week for you, and then, oh my God, people! Then let me tell you something about April. April, we've got the Inglorious Bastard himself, Sam Levine. Then we also have Mr. Bannon Way himself, Mr. Mark Gant. So we've got that. And that's right after the Streamy Awards, which he's nominated for 7 of them. So we're going to get some really good information there. Then well, then we don't have anything booked. But after that, we have the Guerrilla Filmmaker Handbook author Chris Jones, who we just booked today. So we've got some great guests coming up in the near future, and I want to make sure all of you guys have know what we got going. You see the green screen behind us. We got some big stuff planned for that. We've got a whole new bit of broadcasting software thanks to our friends over at Telestream for providing us with new Wirecast software. Go check them out at www.telestream.net. Jerry, am I forgetting anything?
I don't know. You just thanked for like 7 minutes. So
I know.
If anyone you didn't thank you. let's just say anyone that we didn't thank, thank you. But I just want to throw out one last final plug, or at least on my end, for John Trigonis. He's in the chat right now. He's a constant listener and watcher of the show. His project has almost reached its goal.
Cerise.
So I'm just going to put out the link in the chat. And please help support Cerise. There's $440 left to go, and then it reaches its goal.
Yep.
So help them out.
Now that we're funded on our side, I have no problem going out and saying like fund. Make sure you fund Stuck Like Chuck 2. Make sure you fund Cerise and even Gary King's How to Write a Joe Sherman Song and all these other films that are out there. Now that my stuff is out of the way, let's do everything else. No, it's great. Thank you everyone for your support. We greatly appreciate it. We got one more little surprise for you that I want to play for you tonight as kind of our end credits. This was a little clip that I found courtesy of Sherry Candler on Facebook. She just happened to put it out there and thought it was really good. I thought it was funny as hell. Just because you don't have really a frame of reference for it, or if you haven't seen it before, don't worry about it. Just watch it and laugh like I did. But it's confession number 26 from Confessions of an Independent Filmmaker. So go check it out, and thank you for everyone for stopping by tonight. Good night. Stuck Like Chuck.
Good night. I'm supposed to say that.
Gotcha.
Stuck Like Chuck. Cerise.
Cerise.